just to hit tourism quickly in Tobago, Tobago hoteliers have been disappointed by Easter revenues, the outcome of what should have been a pretty good vacation time. They usually, traditionally, Easter is more or less booked out. It's one of the top holidays, revenue-earning holidays for Tobago hotels in the year. These are important because things like Easter and the August part of the vacation, but also now more recently, before COVID, July, those things, the revenue earned is then helping make up for the lack of revenue in other parts of the year. But we're back to the question with regards to transportation between the two islands being insufficient. And we've now hit that roadblock because I've said I don't know what the answer is because both Air and Sea Bridge lose money, considerable money.
I think one of the arguments put forward as well is that if you had the same number of flights at different times, could that help the situation? Because some of these flights, from what I understand, there are many empty seats. In fact, a lot of standby passengers are put onto these flights during the day because of the empty seats. So I'm just wondering if Caribbean Airlines were to do an actual assessment.
Is that a normal week, day-to-day thing, or is that holiday period thing?
Well, speaking specifically during the holidays, during the week. During the holidays, a completely different story. But I'm speaking all around about inter-island transportation. But over the Easter vacation, even over the Grace Race weekend, I remember seeing Caribbean Airlines having to utilize the 737 as I think that used to be the last flight to Tobago, the 737 at night. But again, shifting the time...
Isn't supposed to be a 737 on the regular rotation to Tobago?
That was the last flight during these heavy weekends.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, but if they were to shift the time, I think it would prove more efficient. With respect to Easter in Tobago, I didn't expect it to be a great outlook for hoteliers in Tobago because, honestly, I don't think people actually have the revenue or the resources to actually enjoy.
Yeah, the extra money.
Even a simple thing like a trip to Tobago now is proving to be a luxury.
The thing with week-to-week travel on ordinary weeks, you might be right. Better to put more flights after work. That might help. But generally speaking, I don't think it'll make that much of a difference because just overall, that goes back to my first point. Those normal weeks are when hotels don't earn as much because there's just not that much people coming to visit Tobago. Particularly during weekdays. You'll get some on the weekends. So Friday, perhaps, where if we have people, and maybe they've thought of this, have more of your flights later into the afternoon, evening as possible because people tend to try to fly after work, right? But then, of course, it's who want to fly, who don't want to fly, and them hours and blah, blah,
Forgive me
blah.
if I'm not looking at you, if I'm on my laptop. You know what I'm doing right now? I'm actually going on Caribbean Airlines website.
To try and
see.
Well, as you're doing that, final story for the morning. Just a little bit of positive news. It's not necessarily surprising, but there are now signs of, a reduction in COVID-19 just in general. We have now reached a point where the average deaths per day is, I believe, less than one. I'm not, if I'm reading that stat right. Rolling 7-day average of new deaths, less than one. The number of deaths reported for this last week that ended April the 18th, that is yesterday, was 2. So we are way down from 1 death a day, which I am thankful to see. We still have some positive cases, but it's within the realm of this is the new normal. 45 active cases, 93 new positive cases. I'm just happy that the death average is down and the rolling 7-day being less than 1. That's a good sign where we could. I'm now anticipating a day that comes when the actual number just would be 0.
So, with respect to COVID-19, I think we have to understand that we're still in a pandemic. We're still very much interacting. And the number of cases that are being reported are not reflective of the true figure because those are cases that are being tested within the public domain. Private test, and I see people who do that test via home testing kits, and those numbers are not being reported. Mm-hmm. So the number may actually be higher than it is, but overall to suggest that cases, there's been a slight decrease. I hope that trend continues because it's the public health system I'm more concerned about.
Yeah.
And facilities that are being put towards COVID-19 treatment. I spoke to a doctor about 2 weeks ago who said that Cuba was still very much packed. But the severity of the cases and the number of deaths, they've seen a reduction in that. Quickly going back to the Tobago story, I looked up a flight for tomorrow's date. The next available flight is on Sunday, and to return, the next available flight is Wednesday.
This is where the transfer fee, so if you miss your flight, you have to pay the $50. That was to solve this, because you alluded to it. Most of those booked seats are not actually going to have people show up to fly them.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure what more Cal could do. That's what the transfer fee was for, to basically have a small financial penalty for just flippantly booking and then not showing up. So people who want to book, well, in this case, Keaton is just probing. But those who want to book, and I've been in that situation before when I was living in Tobago, it makes it very difficult. And you just have to trust in standby, and that worked most of the time, but not all of the time.
Could we test the system? After 500 episodes, I think we should test the system. I'll tell you what. I'll go to Tobago and do an episode of Talking Point.
Okay, folks, let's take a break. When we come back, we welcome our usual